So welcome to the fourth edition of the RCA Training Tip Show, where every Wednesday, that's Wednesday Aussie time, I'm going to be your YouTube road cycling coach and host of the show, Cam Nichols. So I have a treat for you in this video today. I'm going to be sharing 3 times 4-week indoor training programs 100% free of charge, including a free 4-week access pass to the Sufferfest. I'm not even going to be asking for your email addresses for you to get access to these indoor training programs. You can just go in and get them. And it covers base training, intermediate high intensity, and advanced high intensity programs. So you might be asking yourself now, which program might be right for me? So I'm going to explain to you how you can assess which training program will be right for you in the comfort of your own home. In this video today, I'm also going to share some advanced training techniques, some of my secrets, which are going to enable you to become not only stronger, but also faster on the bike. Before we get into the details though, can I please preface this video with exercise, particularly high intensity, can compromise your immune system. And while we're focusing on the benefits on the mental health side in this video, if you're feeling lethargic, unwell, or maybe you feel you've been exposed to somebody with the coronavirus or something that might make you feel unwell, please save this video for another day. So why am I creating, or why have I created these 4-week training programs free of charge for you? Well, first of all, it's a very uncertain time in the world for us all right now. Many of us are indoors training and it just feels like the right thing to do. Additionally, I got an email the other day from the Knights of Suburbia. This was actually last week, who are essentially a group of like-minded road cyclists here in Australia that also take on the mantle of a mental health advocacy group via their relationship with the Love Me, Love You Foundation. So the email went like this. We are seeking support in putting together a short YouTube style video specifically for our members on the basic do's and don'ts of a 4-week indoor training program. We are looking to focus on beginner, intermediate style programs with a sense of general well-being. In essence, we are looking to provide some guidance to our 1,200 Facebook members on indoor training to help support them through this difficult period. So while I will be sharing the do's and don'ts of indoor training in this video, I did want to take it a step further and provide some indoor training programs for you all. And I mentioned to Cos, well, I have a YouTube channel, so if I'm going to create this for you, why don't I share it with the wider audience? And they were like, of course, massive thumbs up. So if you get value out of this video today and also the programs I'm going to be providing for free, please give the video a thumbs up. Now, before we get into the details, the 6 things that I'm going to share with you, I just wanted to make a point that it is very common at this point in time for your mental health to take a hit. And while riding our bikes and exercise is a great way to ensure we stay on top of our mental health, I know for some people it's not enough. And if you're not feeling okay, that's absolutely okay. But I'm going to provide some contact numbers below that might be of value to you at this point in time. So we're going to break this video into 6 main parts. Number 1, we're going to talk about defining your indoor training plan goal. Number 2, what you need for these 4-week programs. Number 3, how do you know which 4-week program is right for you? Number 4, how to use the Sufferfest indoor training app and why that's the application of choice, but we will be doing some Zwifting too. Number 5, the do's and don'ts of indoor training. And number 6, some mindfulness techniques we'll be incorporating into this program. So number 1, defining your goal. So this is a critical one. It defines our habits and drives our motivation. And unfortunately, at this point in time across the globe, many of us can't even go outside and ride our bikes, let alone target what once were goals, such as attempting our first criterium race, attempting our first 100-mile mass participation event, trying to step up a level or a grade in the local club scene. So you might ask yourself, what possible goal could I have at this point in time? Well, I'm going to go through a few examples for you right now. How about improving your base fitness? This is a great time to be developing your aerobic engine. Why is that? Well, many of the serious amateur cyclists or professional cyclists, what do they train during the off season when they're not racing? When they're preparing for their races, they train base fitness, their aerobic engine. So when they do come to a point in time when they start to lift the intensity of their riding, they start targeting some races, they've got this incredible platform to work from. So given the fact that races and events are on hold for the foreseeable future, why not use this time to train some base fitness? Another example could be improving your functional threshold power. Now, I know many of you out there are Zwifters, and you want to perform better in your Zwift bunch rides and races, and having a higher FTP is going to go a long way. Alternatively, some of you may have been contemplating over the years, thinking about testing a new way, a new structure of training to pattern interrupt the way you have traditionally trained. But you've never really found the time to do it because you've always had a race or something that you're targeting, and you didn't want to maybe negatively affect or impact that target event or race. But now, this is a great time to try a different way of training, a different structured approach to see if you can improve your functional threshold power. Another example, how about a Zwift race? So believe it or not, I've never done a Zwift race before. I've only ever used the indoor trainer to supplement my outdoor racing, criteriums, road races, etc. But now's a great time for me to try some Zwift racing. So I'm going to try a race this week, my first one ever. And then in 4 to 5 weeks time, so end of April, early May, I'm going to target a big one and see how well I can perform. So if anyone has any ideas or suggestions on what that race should be, please share with me below this video. Another really good one is maintaining mental health. As you know, exercising and riding our bikes is a great way to release certain chemicals and hormones in the body that actually make us feel better, such as endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, etc. Some of the Sufferfest sessions as well that you're going to do in the high intensity programs, they're going to definitely clear your head. You can trust me on that one. So implementing any of these 4-week training programs, indoor training programs, is certainly going to go a long way in ensuring you're maintaining a good mental health. Now, a final one I'll throw out there, and it really depends on where you live and the government regulations, is maybe there's a Strava Com that you're targeting. You can go out solo and give that a solid crack. So the second one is, what do you need for these indoor training programs? Here, I'm going to share with you the must-haves and the nice-to-haves. So the must-haves, an indoor trainer. The ability to connect the indoor trainer to applications such as Zwift and the Sufferfest, a heart rate monitor and a power meter if you don't have a smart trainer, a computer or a smartphone so you can register for free to Today's Plan training software and drag a relevant program into your account. Further details on that, I'll provide a link below, and thanks to Jesse from Today's Plan for putting together that short video. The nice to haves, a smart trainer for better connectivity, including using erg mode, which allows you to give the trainer control of the power output. A nice environment to train, elevating desks, big screens, airflow, plants, etc. A fan and towels or mats to place below your trainer, and a towel on top of the trainer itself. Although I'd say the towel's probably a must-have, as well as a fan up here on the Sunshine Coast. It gets bloody hot in this room. The third one, how do you know which 4-week program is right for you? So each of the 3 programs, they all start the same way. So potentially you can do day 1 and day 2 before you decide which program is right for you, as a way of assessing which program you should grab. So day 1 looks like this. We're getting on Zwift. If you don't have it, you can sign up for a free 2-week trial, select the ramp test, and off you go. I'll provide a link to the video below where my wife and I went head to head on a Zwift ramp test. So what we're trying to do with the ramp test is get a rough estimate of your FTP, your functional threshold power, which is essentially the amount of power or watts you should be able to hold on a bike for an hour. Now we need this number, which is critical for the Sufferfest application, and also working out your optimal Zone 2 base training number. Day 2, we complete a cardio drift test in Zone 2. Now I have a video below which I'd like you to watch, which demonstrates the drift test in detail, but essentially what you'll be doing here is riding in Zone 2 for an hour and assessing what your heart rate does over the course of that 1 hour. Now when I say Zone 2, what I want you to do is take your FTP and times it by 0.68. That'll give you a good rough zone 2 number that you can utilize, and if it feels a little too light or a little too hard over the course, maybe variation 10 watts either side till you find a place that is right for you. Now, how do you assess after those 2 days which program is right for you? If your heart rate drifts around 10 beats or more in the cardio drift test, then I'd highly recommend doing the base training program. If your heart rate drifts around 5 beats or less, then select one of the high intensity programs that is best suited. I'd suggest selecting the intermediate high intensity program if you've never really done structured high intensity workouts before. Maybe you've dabbled with it, but you've never really implemented it. If you have implemented high intensity structured sessions in the past quite often, then I'd recommend doing the advanced high intensity program. The fourth item that I wanted to share with you is how to use the Sufferfest and why that's the application of choice. Now, I am suggesting some Zwifting in the programs, assuming you've got access to it, and also assuming that after the free 2-week trial, you're willing to invest in it, as it's a great virtual cycling social world and an opportunity for you to test yourself in bunch rides and races, but it's not a very good way to train with structure. Yes, I know there are some structured high intensity sessions in Zwift you can do, but in my opinion, the structured high intensity sessions in the Sufferfest are superior. And they are designed to help you push yourself. The Sufferfest also has an incredible library of mindfulness and strength building videos, which we will be incorporating into all of our programs. I did my first yoga session in the Sufferfest the other day, and I gotta tell you, I felt magnificent afterwards, and it just took me 15 minutes. And the Sufferfest have also been kind enough to provide us all with a free 4-week access pass during this uncertain time, during this time of need. So thank you very much to the Sufferfest. And it should be noted that the Sufferfest are also running their very own 4-week programs for different levels in their app. So those programs could be another option for you to consider if my programs below don't tickle your fancy. Number 5, the do's and don'ts of indoor training and the approach we're taking. First up on this one, if your local government is allowing you to go outside and exercise, go outside and ride your bike, then please do that. But don't do it in bunches and don't do it side by side, although I know there's some grey in there if you live with that person, but ultimately you're out there solo, you're out in nature, you're breathing in the fresh air, your technology is in your back pocket, and you're away from the news. You're taking a break. Yes, with high intensity, keep those sessions for the trainer, but take your zone 2 and easy recovery rides outside. Now, the 4-week programs themselves, they use a technique called progressive overload. So what you're going to find is in week 1, we're going to start pretty easy, and then we're going to get harder in week 2, harder again in week 3, and week 4 is going to be pretty bloody tough. But then in week 5, that's an opportunity for you to have a rest. Still ride, but keep it easy to moderate. Now, the do's and the don'ts of indoor training. From a training perspective, the do's. Do 3 high intensity sessions per week maximum, ideally using erg mode to make the use of what an indoor trainer can provide. Have a recovery day, either zone 1 or zone 2 riding between high intensity sessions. Gradually make your weeks get slightly harder in training, with some targeted rest weeks every 3rd or 4th week, pending your body's needs. Use your erg mode to get used to riding constant pressure in zone 2, stretch after each session, and a bottle of water an hour at least for hydration. The do nots. Do not do back-to-back, day after day high intensity sessions unless you're working towards a target event that requires it. Do not do too many races or bunch rides on Zwift, because the unstructured riding will leave your form all over the place. And do not select a super hard high intensity session in the Sufferfest or Zwift or whatever without progressing towards it first. Start low, knowing you're going to work high. Ultimately, with indoor training, we can get super strong on the bike, but we want to make sure we're not overdoing it, because I know many people get super excited about all the Zwift bunch rides and races you can do, and as a result, they do too much high intensity. Your fitness gains, they actually come in recovery. Yes, the high intensity session you do is the ticket to fitness gains, but the adaptations that occur, the fitness gains come post that high intensity session. So we want to make sure that we're having a good recovery day after a hard high intensity session. We're progressively making things harder, and when we get to the end of a block, we're having a rest. That will ensure you're going to get a lot stronger on the indoor trainer and on the bike when we can all get outside. Now the sixth, the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about is mindfulness techniques we'll be incorporating. So many of us out there, myself included, we can't just rely on exercise and our road bikes as the sole tool to help with our mental health. We need many daily pattern interrupts. And what I'm going to do with you here is share with you something that I personally use every single day. It's something called the Wim Hof method. So we're going to conclude the video with this, but just also know in the Sufferfest application that you're going to get free access to, there's a library of mindfulness videos, including yoga, breathing, and balancing exercises, which I have incorporated into the 4-week programs. These are other options you should consider, meaning there really should be no excuses for you to attempt and try out new techniques that positively disrupt us from the madness of life, ensuring we stay healthy, both in the body and in the head. So here are some of my Wim Hof techniques to conclude this video.